Well, good afternoon. Um, I was actually just looking for something to distract myself, and I go to often to some of my favorite authors, and I have a number of books on the go. It's not usually the way I do it, but I do. So today I was just perusing through Friedrich Nietzsche's Twilight of the Idols, Götterdämmerung, and what struck me was what he wrote about modernity. So I thought I might read it to you because it holds some lessons for today, and maybe even you know timeless wisdom. So this is section 39 of, depending on how it's translated. This gentleman here translated it. How did he translate it here? It doesn't matter. It's near the end of Twilight of the Idols. Critique of modernity. Our institutions are no longer any good. This is universally accepted, but it is not their fault, it is ours. Once we have lost all the instincts from which institutions grow, we lose the institutions themselves because we are no longer good enough for them. Democratism has always been the form taken by organizing energy in decline. In Human All Too Human, I already characterized modern democracy, along with its inadequacies like the German Reich, as the form of the state's decay. For there to be institutions, there must be a kind of will, an instinct, an imperative, which is anti liberal to the point of malice, the will to tradition, to authority, to centuries of responsibility to come, the will to solidarity of generational chains stretching forwards and backwards in infinitum. If this will is there, then something like the Imperium Romanum is founded, or like Russia, the only power nowadays which has endurance, which can wait, which still has promise. Russia, the conceptual opposite of Europe's pitiful, petty statory and nervousness, which has reached a critical condition with the founding of this German Reich. The whole of the West has lost these instincts from which institutions grow, from which future grows. Nothing perhaps goes against the grain of its modern spirit so much. People live for today. They live very quickly. They live very, very irresponsibly. And this is precisely what is called freedom. The thing that makes institutions into institutions is despised, hated, rejected. People think they are in danger of a new form of slavery whenever the word authority is even just uttered. Decadence has penetrated the value instinct of our politicians and political parties to such an extent that they instinctively prefer anything which dissolves things, which hastens the end. Witness modern marriage. Modern marriage has patiently lost all its rationality. And yet, this is no objection to marriage, rather to modernity. The rationality of marriage lay in the sole legal responsibility of the husband. That is what gave marriage its center of gravity, whereas nowadays it has a limp in both legs. Rationality of marriage lay in the principle of its indissolubility. This gave it an assent which, set against the contingencies of feeling, passion, and the moment, could make itself heard. Likewise, it lay in the responsibility of families for the choice of husband and wife. The increasing indulgence shown towards love matches has practically eliminated the basis for marriage, the thing which makes it an institution in the first place. An institution can never be founded on an idiosyncrasy. Marriage, as I have already said, cannot be founded on love. It is founded on the sexual drive, on the drive to own wife and child as property, on the drive to rule, which is constantly organizing for itself the smallest structure of rule, the family, which needs children and heirs in order to keep a physiological hold, too, on the measure of power, influence, wealth it has achieved, in order to prepare for long term tasks, for instinctual solidarity between centuries. Marriage as an institution already encompasses the affirmation of the greatest, most enduring organizational forms. If society cannot guarantee itself as a whole unto the most distant generations, then there is no sense in marriage at all. Modern marriage has lost its sense. Consequently, it is being abolished. Well, that took a surprise turn, right? But he's not wrong. I mean, look at the modern institutions. I never really thought, you know, marriage could be criticized. I talk about education, health, philosophy, psychology, but relationships. I mentioned relationships, but we forget that's what marriage is. It's what the Chinese in the Chinese Book of Change called Bi. It's the basis of society. It's the household. And yes, as a householder, you are in charge, but your goal is to protect and to guide and to nurture all involved. So the way it works in the Chinese Book of Change, it begins with this small family unit. Then it grows from there, your neighbors, and then 5 neighbors, and then the neighborhood, and then the community, and the village itself, the city, the county, and it grows from there. And it's all connected. There is no authority above another. Um, but I love that, how it resonates, this idea. I talked about it earlier, trying to explain when someone uses the idea, the religion of the Greeks or the religion of the Romans, it can mean the rituals and acts that they carry out. It can also mean the faith and devotion behind those rituals and acts. But it can also mean the community of, in its entirety, its whole, whether they're devout believers in disparate faiths or one. Doesn't matter if they're all sharing the weal and woe of society. So, what is your religion? I argue the modern prevailing religion today is secularism. And I think it's shown itself to be wanting. And I think this is what Nietzsche was warning us, that if everything is permitted, I know that's Dostoevsky, but where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us today where we can do anything and be anything except meaning makers. Imagine that. The only thing we need is hope and meaning, and it's the only thing we are unable to do.